Welcome to Sty Times, guys. It's great to see you. It's great to see you. I watched the chat till the show starts, and I saw everything spicy popped in there. Good old Phil. Yeah, hey Phil, wearing one of my favorite hoodies today. It's cold in here. It's cold in here. Right. Oh, you guys, starting to show off early. See, I think these guys. I just The StreamYard side is slow. There it goes. Right. Boom, boom. Two guys right behind each other. There's Ryan Jetson with a super chat. That's awesome, Ryan. And then there's Spicy. He said you can also donate through super chats and super sticker like this one. What a character! You guys are characters. You're trying to catch me off guard. First thing, today's topic: expectations. Sty did not expect that. He did not suspect that. Did not see that coming, you guys. I want to thank Ryan and everything spicy. That's great. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. The and yeah, like I said, today's topic is expectations. And yeah, yeah, it's spicy. I got that out of the corner of my eye, spicy. Yeah. Don't read the chat, you old fart. Yeah. And that's it, to try to stay on topic. I might do things that are unexpected today, like read that chat once in a while and shout out some of the things people have to say. We'll see where it goes. That's what Sty Times is all about. Who knows? Who knows where it's going to go? So don't set expectations on Sty Times, because yeah, you might expect a real serious story or discussion the next Sty Times, and we'll do something just goofy as sin. So don't set expectations. But I might give you a few hints of what's coming up in the next Sty Times, and you might suspect something's coming up, a certain thing. Just don't expect it, right? We're going to talk about suspecting things versus expecting things a little later in the show. There's I've been tearing my mind apart. Is this a good time of day to do this show? Should it be the kind of thing I do it in the morning, coffee with Sty at Sty Times or some garbage like that, or should I do it later at night when more people are just hanging out on YouTube? Then I realized, no, this is just the what I would consider the quiet time of the evening. And I got myself kind of in a corner where I looked at YouTube analytics at when are most of my viewers on YouTube, because you can see that in your analytics. You can tell what are the peak hours in the day that most of your viewers are on YouTube. And 5 p.m. is right at the beginning of the peak. Usually it's from 5 until about 8 p.m., a 3-hour window there. And I thought, well, if I go at the very beginning of that window, I'll catch a good crowd. I'll catch a good group of folks. And the numbers should be pretty high because it's during that peak. Well, here I was setting expectations of the show that it's going to get these peak viewers because YouTube analytics said so. No, it was an unreasonable expectation, and it didn't match my own personal expectations for myself. So I had to step back and say, no, 5 p.m. Central Time is when Sty needs to do Sty Times. And those folks that are available to see it will be there. Those that aren't, they'll have to get it after the fact. And it best fits my day. So I had to change my own expectations because I was taking the advice from a third party, in a sense, as to what to expect in the way of performance of my channel. And I should have said, I suspect that I'm going to get good views at 5 o'clock. And then I wouldn't have felt so disappointed when I didn't get as many views as I expected due to their analytics, right? Okay, we're going to get into what's going on there. There, here now, you don't expect this. I caught that, Spicy. Yeah, shit happens. I mean, he's talking to Adam, and why would you do that? That had to hurt. You know, they're talking away over there. Had to work all day, spilling 230-degree all over my hand yesterday. Yeah, that had to hurt. That had to hurt. But I'll tell you what. There you go. That's unexpected. I bet you don't plan on burning yourself like that, do you? Do you? Expectations. Well, let's get down the road with some expectations, eh? Let's talk about that. Expectations. Are they good for you? Bad for you? Should you set expectations? Should you not? What's the deal with expectations? And why is expectations the topic even worth talking about? And what can we expect from it? Expectations. I'm surprised we don't talk about expectations more often, because we live in expectation all day. All day. We start our days off. We wake up in the morning and we look at the clock and we go, I didn't expect to wake up an hour early. The alarm isn't even close to going off. There you go. You're disappointed because that was an expectation you had when you went to bed, is I'm going to get up at 7 o'clock, and I got up at 6. Start the day off disappointed that your expectation had not been met. And excuse me with the cough. I'm getting over like a cold and ear infection, so you might hear me coughing once in a while. And like a darn fool, I don't quit smoking. But anyway, so you wake up early. You didn't want to. So you were disappointed because that expectation wasn't met. You get up and you go take your morning shower. And, everything should be there. Your body wash, your shampoo, your washcloths, your favorite back scrubbing brush. Everything should be in the shower. And you get in there. Get the water going. And it's not as hot as it usually is. You crank the heat up, it's still not hot. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, something's wrong with the hot water heater. I got to hurry up with my shower. And you go to grab your body wash and you're going, where's my body wash? It's not in here. All right. So you grab your shampoo and you use it as a second best option. And you shower with shampoo that morning and only lukewarm water because your hot water heater's going on the fritz. And you get out of the shower and you go to shave, and you expect all of your shaving supplies to be in the medicine cabinet, but your aftershave is gone. It's like, why isn't my aftershave in the medicine cabinet? Well, little do you know, your teenage son, when he nabbed it and ran off with it, and he's the same culprit that grabbed your body wash to give the dog a shampoo the afternoon before. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Now, all those expectations weren't met, and each one of them created a little bit of disappointment. You felt disappointed every time one of those expectations weren't met. You get out and you're thinking, oh, I can't wait. I need that hot cup of coffee. You go in the kitchen and you're getting everything set up, getting your coffee maker ready, and then you go to grab the coffee out of the cupboard and you look in the container and you're going, there's not even enough to make a full pot of coffee here. So you end up making half the amount of coffee you're used to making, and you're bumming about it. You're feeling disappointed again because your expectations weren't met. Well, You expect to get out the door on time every day, get to work, be able to clock in at 8 o'clock. Well, today, because of all of the unexpected things that happen, you're running late. You get to work and you're late. You didn't meet your expectation of being there by 8 o'clock. Another little dose of disappointment to add on to all those others you started out with. Your work is consistent every day of the week. You know what to anticipate. So you've set expectations of your workday, and you get there and you start getting through your workday, and all of a sudden it's the crappiest workday you've had in forever. Everything's going wrong. Everything's going wrong. By the end of the workday, your work expectations were all disappointments for the day. Now, throw those disappointments in that same big basket full of disappointments you already had starting this morning, the minute you woke up. You get out of work, you head home, dinner time. You're very happy. You get home, the spouse fixed dinner, the kids are behaving, and you're going, oh, I just expected a typical night, same old hot dish for dinner, and the kids arguing at the table through the whole meal. But this dinner was awesome, and the kids were so well behaved. It exceeded my expectations of my typical dinner. So it exceeded my expectations. All of a sudden, you get to take a few of those disappointments out of the basket, throw them away. Because you exceeded your expectation for that moment. The evening goes smooth and quiet. You can't beat it. It's a great evening. I jumped on YouTube and I spent a bunch of time with friends. It was so enjoyable. It so surpassed my expectations of the way this evening would go. Take another handful of disappointments from the day and throw them out. Now you get to go to bed, but there's still some disappointments left in that basket, so they weigh heavy on your mind. Oh, that hot water heater, I got to get that fixed. Thank goodness tomorrow's Saturday. I can run down, get the parts, fix that hot water heater. But really, what I expected to do on my Saturday was just go fishing all day. But now I got to fix a hot water heater. You're already taking disappointments that are going to come tomorrow. You're taking them that night before and refilling that disappointment basket because now your expectations are that your expectations won't be met. So you're disappointed before it even happens. Okay, all that sounds, some of it sounds, oh, that's terrible. That's a terrible day. That's bad. Oh yeah, that would upset me too, having those kind of expectations not met. But are those expectations good for us or bad for us? What I just described is actually healthy, natural expectations. They come naturally. Didn't expect me to take a pause and light a smoke, did you? Put a disappointment in your basket. But waking up in the morning and having a full day's set of expectations is healthy because those expectations have been developed due to daily reoccurrence of routine, of things that you expect to be that way. You expect them to always be a certain way. And it's outside variances that come in and interfere with that level of expectation. But that's natural because it gives you the opportunity to be able to deal with disappointment because you've got your little basket of disappointments over here you have to manage. It helps you learn to deal with common small disappointments and get on with your day and move on to the next expectation. That's healthy for you. That's healthy for you. Now, we're going to get into a little bit of unhealthy expectations. Now, I was told this by one of my grandfathers, and it took me a while to realize how wise the old fart was. But he was absolutely right. He says, when you set expectations, you should set them on yourself because you can control whether you're going to meet that expectation or not. And he says that don't set those expectations up at the clouds because you'll always disappoint yourself. Set those expectations at a realistic level. And then if you exceed it, you don't have any disappointment to go with it. And he said to me, he said, if you want to be disappointed, set expectations on others, on other people. If you're going to set expectations on other people, the odds are you will be disappointed. And why is that? It's because, and I found over life, if someone sets an expectation on me, I may have already had a level of expectation for the same thing already set. They come in with a new expectation level above what I thought was reasonable. So now I'm trying to meet what they feel the level of expectation should be. Don't ever let somebody in your personal life dictate what the expectations for you should be. You know you better than anybody else. You set those expectations on yourself and you target that. If they're disappointed because they set their expectation too high on you, that's a disappointment gets thrown in their basket, not yours, because your expectation was a notch lower and you made that. Now there's no disappointment thrown in that disappointment basket. It's, I used to when I was in school, I used to hate it. The the coach would say, "Oh, you're going to run the 600-yard dash and you're going to run it in X amount of minutes, period." That's the expectation. If you meet that mark, good. You did it. Well, that coach, he set that expectation so doggone high that all of us felt we should be racehorses to be able to make that mark. So there was maybe one or two people that could meet his expectation. And what it did was it caused a lot of the guys in our track team and our gym class to become so disappointed in themselves not reaching that coach's expectation. They gave up. They never got better. They never enjoyed a minute of any of the gym classes because the expectations were set so high that all it did was fill their disappointment in themselves basket constantly because they allowed someone to make them move their expectation level up to the outsiders, and they never succeeded. Never. Now, I'm not saying everybody should get a medal because they cross the finish line, but everybody should be encouraged. And expectations so often are set not for the purpose of encouraging others, but to discourage others, to create elite class that can meet those expectations. But the expectation's not reasonable. Bring it down enough where you can say, that's a reasonable expectation that you can reasonably expect somebody to accomplish. The oh, excuse me. But I found with my children, I found that there are certain things you need to set the expectation and the level with a child so that they learn that there are, to a degree, minimum standards that people have to meet. So I expect you to behave a certain way when you're in the public and with other people. I expect that. But you got to explain to them what that standard is. Don't just say, I expect you to behave when you're out in the public. Well, when he says behave at home, we still throw things and raise heck and chase the dog through the house. So you got to be careful. When you set an expectation, explain to the person what the standard is of that expectation. Don't just give them a title to an expectation. Tell them what that expectation involves. So with children setting expectations, I found I'll set the expectation kind of low. And then when they make it, I praise them. Praise them. Hey, you exceeded my expectations. That's awesome. But now next time you do that, I expect you to do it just a little better or a little faster. Or I expect you to behave a little better. But I've raised that expectation based on history. They accomplished that. That was easy for them. They didn't get a disappointment put in their disappointment basket. And the kids seemed so much more positive about things. So setting an expectation that was reasonable actually encouraged that kid to do a little better next time. So you could raise that expectation a little more. And you do that until you get to the point where, well, I'm raising the expectation to here, but I suspect they're not going to make it. Now, because you raise their expectations so high that you suspect they're not going to meet that, and they go out there and they do their best to try to meet it because they've been meeting your expectations up till now, and then they realize, I can't meet that expectation. You tell them, well, I see you just didn't meet the expectation. I'm going to lower my expectation again on you. I'm going to lower it down. And I suspected that you probably couldn't achieve that. Guess what? They don't have to put a disappointment in their basket because they just found out from you it was all right not to meet an expectation as long as you did your best and you made sure all the effort went into meeting that expectation, but they just couldn't get there. There's just no way they could get there. And that you suspected they wouldn't be able to, but you set it there anyway. That's a free pass. No disappointment in the basket. Not one for them, not one for you. Because you already knew the outcome. So how can you get disappointed over something you expected it, but you really aren't requiring it? So it's a wash. It's a wash. Get it done, Granny says you can have my kids, Sty. Yeah, I catch once in a while the comments. I can have your kids. It's crazy because I did have a situation where I almost ended up raising a outside family member's child, and we would have been taking that kid on when that kid was, I believe, 8 years old. And I said, I want to retire in a few years. I don't want to raise a kid. And they said, now, it's either you take the kid and raise the kid, or we just send the kid to your house on permanent vacation because that kid won't listen to us. And actually, this topic applied in that situation. Is I talked with the kid's mother and father, and it came down to you've got 16 and 18-year-old expectations on a 12 or 8-year-old. By the time he's 12, I mean, he should be graduating from college at the level of expectation you're applying to an 8-year-old. I said, you got to bring that stuff down. You got to bring it down to the expectations of a 9-year-old, or maybe set the expectations at the expectation of a 10-year-old, but suspect that he might not be able to reach that. When they start applying that, we'll keep them. We'll keep our kid. You don't have to take them. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Granny, earlier there. If I was younger, I'd say, fine, I'll take your kids. What the heck, if I could. I always kind of liked the idea of. I always liked working with kids. I worked with we've got a couple of youth organizations up here. I worked with them on outdoor skill things and stuff, and I loved it. I loved working with the kids. Kids are bright, and I never set expectations on young kids. If they're 13 years old and less, I virtually don't set any expectations on them because they are so all over the board. But I suspect that every one of them are going to learn whatever skill they're setting themselves to well if they're given good instruction. And you could say, well, that suspicion is an expectation. No, because not every kid is built like the next kid, and they may not succeed like another one did. So no, it's not an expectation because it's whatever level they get to. I'm happy with it. So I never had to throw disappointments into my disappointment basket. And hey, great to see you, Teresa and Samantha Lee. But that's one thing, we're going to talk here in the last half of the show about people setting expectations on you personally. And then we're going to talk about how you set expectations on others in our daily lives, the people that we relate to and work with and are close to. And how we can use those expectations that we set as a great bonding tool to just make things so much better in your relationships with each other. So that's where we're going to go in the last half hour of the show. But we're at the halfway mark of the show, and I always have to do this. I always have to shout out and praise my channel members. So this only takes a little over a minute, or a little intermission. You can run real fast, grab a cup of coffee. Hopefully your expectations won't be destroyed when you get there and find out somebody took the last cup of coffee before you got there. I'll see you in about a minute. Well, we're back. We're back. See, I told you that didn't take so long, you know. The throw a little reminder at the bottom of the screen that memberships are available under down in the above the description. You'll see a join button. You can click on that. Give you a little intro to what the membership's about. Just a little reminder there. The yeah. Now, okay. Chuck said that yeah, he made it halfway through. I saw that earlier. That's all right. Sty Times is. I created Sty Times, and it's an hour show. It's if a person's got an open window, they can of time they can watch it. It's an hour show, or they can watch the first half hour, pause it at that, always at the 30-minute mark. You'll see that little plug for the members, and then you can pause there and come back tomorrow and watch the other half type thing, you know. And that's why we basically have the show set up that way. We got some great plans for the show coming up. We're going to talk about that at the tail end of today. So we'll get back on expectations. Okay. Now here's what, okay. Expectations people set on you. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with someone? Now I'm talking about adults. I'm talking, you know, you're an adult. You got your own life. You make your own decisions. You're a grown up. You know, you got you're wearing your big boy pants. Now, someone comes along and says, "You were such a disappointment," and you go, "Why?" Well, when you came over last week and I was doing this and this and this, you know, I could have really used your help. And I really expected, because that's kind of the person you are, that you would have jumped in and helped me with that project. But no, you said, "Well, I got to get going," and you took off. What did they just do to you? They just told you you should take a disappointment and put it in your disappointment basket because you didn't meet my expectation. What I say is, I'll take a disappointment. I'll put it in your effing basket. Don't you make me feel guilty because I didn't meet something you set as a expectation and you applied a standard to it, but you hadn't a clue what was going on that day with me. I had my own expectation that I had to get home and fix that hot water heater I was talking about in the first half of the show. Otherwise, I wouldn't get a hot shower tomorrow either. So I went and I met my expectation. And I was happy with it because I got the hot water heater fixed. But if I would have hung around your place and helped you rake your dang leaves, I would have never gotten the one thing that was really important, and that was to get that hot water heater working. But yet you want me to be disappointed over the fact I didn't meet your expectation of me. Again, it goes back to what I said in the first half of the show. It is so easy to disappoint yourself by simply setting unreasonable expectations on people. Don't set an expectation on a person when you do not know their circumstances. Don't set an expectation that has a specific timeline attached to it unless you know what that person's timeline is. Have you touched base with them? Are you available? Are you doing anything on this day during this time? And then say, I could really use your help. If that person says, yeah, okay, well, that time comes and they don't show up. Now that's an expectation, a reasonable expectation that wasn't met. So both parties should put a disappointment in their disappointment basket. I'm disappointed in myself. And the other person, I'm disappointed in you because that was a reasonable expectation, and you you didn't make it. You didn't even come close. Well, that's reasonable, and it what it does is it creates a friendship responsibility amongst each other. Now, I'm sure many of you have had friends or family members like this where they've got all kinds of expectations of what you should do. I mean, so far as, oh, I never expected you to raise your kids that way. What? I mean, you don't tell me how to raise my kids, and my you don't set the expectations of how I raise my children. How bold of you. Boy, that'll break up a relationship in a hurry. The what really disappoints me is when people I was married for 38 years, got divorced after 38 years. The I I'll tell you what, I got to the point where the only expectation I had with my ex-spouse was I expect you to refrain from stabbing me in the back while I sleep. That was the only expectation I felt I could set that she could reasonably meet. It got rough at the end. It got rough. And, but I realized one day that we had spent many, many years applying reasonable expectations on each other, but also applying unreasonable expectations. And it became apparent that sometimes we'd set expectations fully aware they're not going to meet them. Fully aware. Tell them, I expect you to blah, 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 blah. And they go, I don't think I can do that. Well, I expect it. And end the conversation. That's the quickest way to destroy a relationship or a friendship, is to find yourself intentionally setting expectations consistently that can never be met. Because the person on the receiving end of that, and I speak from experience, my disappointment basket runneth over. I felt disappointed in myself all the time because I had a partner that set expectations to the point where I could no longer meet them. There's just no way I could mentally, emotionally, physically meet all those expectations of me unless I gave my personal self up, where all concerns for my own well-being were thrown out the window and only met those expectations. And that just tore the relationship up. I had the same kind of situation happen in a business venture where I was working 12 to 16-hour days every day, 7 days a week, not 5 days or 6. I worked 7 days a week, and it was 12 to 16 hours every day. And I had one of my partners say, you know what? You don't do enough around here. We expect this and this and this and this. I was going on 60 years old at the time. And I said, my God, you expect more out of me? How much do you think you can squeeze out of a 60-year-old guy? And at that time, I'll give myself a pat on the back. At that time, I was working like a 25-year-old. I was bucking wood, before the sun cut. As soon as it was light enough that I could see to not cut a leg off with chainsaw, I was out bucking wood in the morning. And I'd buck wood for 2 hours before I go in, fix my breakfast, have breakfast. I come out. Then I was jumping in the truck, hooking up the trailer, and heading for the woods to drop a bunch of dead timber and haul it back in to buck wood the rest of the day. And then in the evening, back to the woods for another trailer full and buck wood right up until sundown, taking no break for dinner, but eat it after the sun sets when I can't work anymore. And this individual said, you need to do more. You aren't meeting our expectations. And guess where I told that individual to put their expectations? That's when I drew my line. Now, this happened about that's about 2 years after my divorce. And I said, boy, I can see where this is going. And I won't do it. I won't give myself, I will not give up to meet your expectations on me. I will set my own expectations. And I was exceeding them every single day at that time. Putting in 12, 14, 16 hours a day at 58, 59 years old. Nobody out there lending a hand, just pounding it. I was running a school at the time, a wilderness school. And I had to put a smile on for all my clients. It didn't matter how much I hurt from working all the time. And someone said, you're not meeting our expectations. If you want to really tear a person down, start setting expectations on them, because all it ends up being for them, you're not doing them any good. None whatsoever. You're actually doing them harm. If you're an adult and you're working your way through life, you're doing what you have to do, and you've got a busy life, you've got kids in your life, you've got your spouse, you've got your job, you got work. You got to keep up the home. You're busy, and you have all these expectations of yourself to get all these things done. Nobody in your circle should be saying, guess what? I'm going to load some expectations on top of the ones you already set for yourself. Now, if you're a person that has allowed yourself to become lazy, I hate to put it that way, because I don't like calling people lazy, because a lot of times there's reasons why they appear lazy, but they're truly not. But there are people that they take advantage that everybody else is doing everything for them, right? And then they just slowly keep kicking back, and then they're not doing nothing. Those are the kind of people, then you're going to do them good by going and saying, hey, guess what? You want to eat dinner tonight? I'm setting this expectation. You got to do this, 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 and this. You meet that expectation, I'll put dinner on the table for you. Otherwise, you ain't eating. Watch how fast they all of a sudden start meeting some expectations. And once they can meet your few expectations, they should have the confidence to be able to set their own expectations and say, yeah, if I set these expectations, I'm going to eat a good dinner tonight. I don't need him to set them anymore. I know what I should do. I know what I need to do for myself. We always seem to want to use expectations as a reason to blacklist others. It's easy to say, oh, that person, did you hear they went out, got drunk last Friday night, and they came home and they were drunk driving, they ran their mailbox over. I'm so disappointed. They really didn't meet my expectations. I had higher expectations than that of them. Why? You don't think that could happen? Instead, wouldn't it have been better if you went and talked to that individual and told them, they said, you know what? I suspect there's something really goofy going on in your life because you come home drunk, ran your mailbox, over parked your car in my backyard. What the heck's the matter with you? What's going on? You didn't tell them, I am so disappointed in you. You did not meet my expectations. I expected better of you. Instead, you told them, there's a reason why your behavior or the thing you did is unusual when it comes to your history. So what's up? What's up? That's a positive approach to it instead of saying you didn't meet a standard. You did not meet my expectation. Expectations have their place in our lives. They really do. You know, there's healthy expectations, and then there's those unhealthy expectations. And I think unhealthy expectations are typically attached to a person's own selfish reasons why they have those expectations of somebody else. It's like I love it when somebody tells me, you know, Sty, you ought to do this, 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 and this. And I look at them and I look at their lives and I go, well, you don't. So why don't you apply your expectation to yourself for a while and let me see how it goes. And then I'll talk about setting that expectation for myself. But I can't stand it when someone that has never, ever done a specific thing comes to you while you're doing that thing and starts telling you how to do that thing and saying, you know, I would expect that you would do this, 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 and this, and then you'll get it done right. Again, I look at him and go, you ever done this? No. But I expect that you should be able to. Don't you set expectations on me on something you've never done? And what if I have never done this before? And you're going to set an expectation on someone that hasn't got a clue himself? No, don't set expectations that bring people to a point of disappointment. No. I like it. My disappointment basket's really small nowadays. It's really small because I laugh at things I don't accomplish. Do I get a little upset? Yeah. Oh, I'm terrible. I've turned into one of the worst housekeepers. I tell you what, I used to keep my house like a operating room in a hospital. I mean, spotless. Everything in its place. Everything perfect. Spotless. I used to keep big Victorian house that way. I did everything in that house. Kept it spotless. Now I got piles of junk here and there, and it's not dirty in here. It's disorganized as sin, and that's not me. Was that an expectation that I got to throw a disappointment in my disappointment basket for? No, I didn't set that expectation. I have a lot of want tos. That's what I go to. That's my go-to now. Instead of setting expectations on most things, I set want tos. I want to accomplish this. I want to accomplish that. I want to accomplish that. I want to. Doesn't mean I'm going to. And so if I don't, it doesn't come off the want to list. It's still there. So the crazy Ann and I have fun with that all the time. She'll go, Sty, did you get your kitchen cleaned today like you said you're going to? Nope. I sure wanted to. But and then I laugh. I go, oh, well, guess I got to eat a TV dinner because I don't want to dirty any more dishes than I already got. And she'd start laughing, you know. But that's the only reason I picked this topic at all was because expectations we are living in a world of expectations from the minute we wake up. Every morning we wake up, and The expectations are there waiting for us. And we live through the whole day living through all these expectations that we have on ourselves, others have on us, society has on us, the local religions have on us. The whole world expects you to be a certain way. And you know what I want to tell you, folks? The most important expectation in this whole life of ours is expect yourself to be you. That's all that matters. It's all that matters. I expect to go through life being the best me. The best me. I don't mean to be selfish. It doesn't mean I'm selfish. It means I want myself, me, to be the best me possible. Now, helping others helps you be a best me. Meeting certain expectations helps you be a best me. But when you look at all the world of expectations, it's like you're standing in the middle of an ant nest, and all those ants are taking their turn, crawling up to your ears and whispering expectations. Millions of them. That's the world turns on expectations. You need to bring the world down to yourself and say, okay, my world turns on my expectations, not everybody else's. I expect a certain thing from myself. And that's where it's going to stand. I'm not going to let third party tell me what I should be expected of. Because they're not me. They're not me. They don't know if I can do it or not. They don't care if I can do it or not. Because it's so easy to expect something of someone else. Turn that on yourself and start expecting better of yourself. That's all I say. I expect that I won't quit smoking between today and tomorrow. I expect that to not happen. So I'm going to take a quick look out at the chat, guys. We're at the tail end of the show. We got 6 minutes to go. And I want to thank you guys for hanging out today on this topic. Expectations. I'm sure some folks were wondering, where in the hell is Sty going with this, with expectations? And I'm certain some of it came off as kind of, oh, he's ranting about this, ain't he? And I'm sorry if any of it sounded like a rant, but I've seen too many good people actually go from being very happy with themselves and feeling that they're good, that they're a good man, they're a good woman, I'm good, I'm a good person. I've watched people go from that state to, I'm such a disappointment. I disappoint people so much, I am a firm believer a lot of times disappointment, if you take a good look at that disappointment and follow the trail, where does that disappointment come from? It comes from not meeting an expectation. Okay, now look at that expectation. Was it one you set on yourself, or is it one somebody else set on you? So throw that disappointment out, get that disappointment basket empty, have a little more faith in yourself and say, I can set my own expectations. I don't need anybody's help. I don't need anybody to help me judge me after I fail. because I couldn't meet their expectations. I don't need anybody to do that. I can fill my disappointment basket if I want to, all on my own. Um, and that's why on my channel, and all of you know it, I'm sure everybody watching, pretty sure everybody watching can understand this. My only expectation on my channel when it comes to my audience and my viewers is the only expectation I have is respect. That's it. That's the only expectation I have on folks out there, that they show respect to each other. If you're incapable of showing respect, this isn't the place for you. If you see somebody in the audience that, oh, I just don't respect that person. We're going to talk. That's going to be a topic on this show later down the road about respect, and just how respect needs to be viewed. I have people that I absolutely disrespect their behavior, their lifestyle, whatever they're doing. But if I cross them on the street and they look at me and I'll smile at them and nod my head, that's respectful. If they say, "Good morning, Sty," I'll respond with a smile and say, "Good morning," and just keep walking. And as I walk past and say, "Yeah, I just said good morning to the biggest asshole in town. I don't have any respect for that guy." But what I did was I showed the world that I can show respect to even the worst people in the world. Now, if the other person shows me disrespect, yeah, I tell them where they can put it, and on I go. Because disrespect receives no respect. The simplest respect is rewarded with in kind, a smile and a nod, and on you go. Didn't hurt you to smile and nod at that person, and on you go. So that's my only standard, is respect. So there's the expectation of the day. Respect each other. Love you all. We're at the end of the show. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Now, yeah, guess what? It's Friday. So I have a day off. Saturday, all day. And I'll be back Sunday with a Sty Story Sunday. It was wonderful today. Absolutely wonderful. And I hope to see you all on Sunday at Sty Story Sunday. And if I don't see you then, hey, Monday, 5 p.m. Central Time, back for Sty Times. And yeah, I think you're going to like this topic too. It's kind of on this order. I think you'll enjoy it. So hope to see you all at least Monday evening at 5 p.m. Central Time. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.